Good afternoon. My name is Scott Smith. I am going to be doing a video presentation for FTT122. Today's date is October 19th, 2025. Today we're going to be working on disassembling a cartridge into its components, and then we're going to be doing some measurements on those components. But first, before we do anything in the shop, gotta make sure we have proper protection of our hands and our eyes. I've already pre-assembled my bullet hammer. I have the medium one in place. Going to loosen it a little bit, slide it into the bullet, into the holder. Then I'm going to tighten it up. Now snug that up. We don't want to go too tight, but we want to make it tight enough that we can see. Now, we'll come over to our table here. We're just going to do some quick strikes with the bullet hammer to remove the bullet, the projectile, out of the cartridge. And now I'm left with a bullet and the cartridge. Sorry, I just showed those in opposite order. So we have our projectile and we have our cartridge. When we're done with those, put those away in the proper place so they don't get lost or damaged. The next step, we are going to find some measurements of these. We're going to find our projectile length, projectile diameter, and the case diameter, rim, head, body, shoulder, and neck. When we start doing our measurements, we want to make sure we are zeroed out, whether you're using a micrometer or whatever. You want to make sure we're zeroed out. We're properly zeroed out on this caliper. Let's do some measurements. So let's go projectile length. We're going to slide that back. We're going to bring our projectile. We're going to go right there, make it snug, and lock it in its position. And then when we read it, we read here, and then we read in our inside of our dial, and that showed us our total length of the projectile. I will demonstrate on the rim of this 9mm cartridge on how I got to my numbers. So I got into the rim of it. I'm going to snug it up, not going to over tighten it. Then I'm going to screw our locking in so it doesn't move on it for it. And then I'm going to be reading. We can't see the 4, so we're in the 3. And we're looking at 39. So we are 339 hundredths of an inch for our rim of this 9mm cartridge. Now we're going to be going on to the next thing of this video presentation, and that is finding or designing and drawing a scale drawing of our bullet, of my 9mm. So I went ahead before we started and before I took it apart and I drew it all out. I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to go this into my paper and I'm going to trace it so I have the original size of the bullet. And I am going to take the projectile itself when nothing's on it, and I'm going to trace it again by tracing it again. I can do a scale drawing of the projectile itself. So, on our projectile, our projectile diameter is 355 thousandths of an inch, and our total length of the projectile is 560 of thousandths of an inch. That's for our projectile alone. We come into our case, or to the cartridge and everything. So let's look at our case. So our neck doesn't really change because it's a straight-walled cartridge. So we were looking at our neck diameter. I'm going to put a little line there and go like that. Come out like this. Our neck is 389 thousandths of an inch. Our rim is going to be 339 thousandths of an inch. Sorry, that was for our head. Our rim. And then where you can go, our neck and our shoulder and our body all being the same because we're a smooth or a straight wall cartridge. So I've finished labeling everything. So our neck, our body, and our head are all 389 thousandths of an inch. Our rim is 339 thousandths of an inch. Our projectile length is 560 thousandths of an inch, and our width is 355 thousandths of an inch. Now for section 4 of this presentation, where I'm going to demonstrate how we need to find the projectile's weight using our little scale. So as we get up here, we open our scale up, we're going to power it on. I always like to go, if we're going to do anything, we're in grams right now. We know this is 100 grams. We go into 100, we know it's exactly 100. So we know this scale is properly calibrated. Now we're going to take our projectile, we're going to set our projectile on that. This 9mm projectile is 7.52 grams. And if we wanted to have it in another one, we can go through and do some other dimensions if you'd want. But always, if ever we do anything, before you start taking a weight, zero it out. And I always like to take a known weight to find out what it is, so we know our scale is accurate. There's our 4 parts of this. Obviously, there are some more stuff. We do not have the primer in, so without the primer, we couldn't, if we were to do a measure or a weight on this, we'd be weighing just the brass. If we had the primer in there, we'd have the brass plus the primer. But that's now told apart. This is how you measure it. My name is Scott Smith. This is a video presentation for FTT122 on October 19th, 2025.